I'm going to make you presenter.
Thank you.
Okay, now you have to.
So, very briefly, the presentation will go through the Erasmus Plus program. I am sure all of you have heard of Erasmus. I have been an Erasmus student myself 9 years ago. But now the program has become an umbrella program. We will briefly go through the objectives, the participants that are eligible, the budget available, how the program is structured, and as I was saying, we will end with some examples of projects that were approved and funded with this program. At the end of the presentation, I will very briefly provide you with an overview of the Horizon Europe program, that is a program in the field of research and innovation. So, the priorities of Erasmus Plus are three, and they are very general: inclusion and diversity, digital transformation, and environmental sustainability. Now, most of ideas can be related to these three topics. Who can participate? Higher education institutions. This not only means university, but also organizations working in the field. For example, Pixel is not per se a higher education institution, but because we work with university, we are an eligible participant. Schools, both public and private schools, teachers' networks, parents' associations. So all those related to the school field. Vocational education and training institutions, adult education centers, and youth organizations like that. In terms of countries who can participate, all countries of the world. With different rules, though. Of course, the 27 EU member states can participate. The EEA countries, Iceland, Liechtenstein, and Norway. The candidate countries, for example, Turkey and Macedonia. The so-called neighboring countries, and I repeat, all other countries in the world: Russia, the United States, Africa, etc. There are rules for the participation. So while the program is open to all of them, the program countries, these are called the program countries. There are not only the 27 EU member states, but also these other countries. About the partner countries, there are, as I was saying, some limitations, but they can participate. So it's a very interesting opportunity. The budget available for Erasmus, for the new Erasmus program for the period 21-27 is 26 billion euro. And as you can see, most of the budget is in the field of higher education, and then vocational education and training, school education, and youth. As I was saying earlier, Erasmus is an umbrella program. It's very big, so I cannot go through the entire program. I will just focus on one specific action of the program, two actually specific actions of the program. The first one is mobility. So it's called KA1 Action for Mobility, and this provides mobility opportunities, international mobility opportunities for students in higher education, for school students, for staff, so administrative staff in schools, in universities, and for teachers, of course. About 10 million people will be involved in the program, in the mobilities. So the funded activities are staff mobility. For example, it is possible for someone working in a university to go to another university to have a job shadowing experience, or a teaching assignment, or to attend courses, seminars in another country. And everything is funded. And similarly, for VET learners, it is possible for people who are studying in the field of vocational education to go abroad and have an internship, etc. The actors of the mobility action is a sending organization, for example, a school or a university, a receiving organization, for example, a course provider or another university, and if you want, an intermediary organization who can support the two in the organization of the activities. The budget. For higher education institution, the budget is 400 euro for each participant, meaning that the university, to organize the mobility experience for each participant, will get 400 euro. The students will receive 70 euro per day spent abroad, and the staff, administrative staff or teachers, 180 euro per day. Travels are funded between 180 and 1,500 euro per travel. The difference is related to the distance. So if you have an internship or a mobility in Canarias or in somewhere that is very far, the budget will be up to 1,500 euro. If the distance is shorter, the budget will be lower. In a nutshell, mobility, at least you have to have a sending and a receiving organization. The intermediary organization is optional. The maximum duration is 26 months, and it is possible to submit the grant request at national level to the national agencies in the country where your organization is based. And this is a couple of examples of mobilities that we organized. The first one, innovative practice in higher education. These are teachers and administrative staff of a Belgian university. They wanted to learn about innovative practices in Florence, so they came for a week and they had funded. And this is a course that we organized for a group of Scottish students on business management and web design. So for them, we organized a course and an internship experience in Florence. The second action I will briefly go through is the KA2, cooperation among organizations and institutions. These, about KA2, we will focus on the so-called cooperation partnerships. Cooperation partnerships have horizontal priorities, first of all. They are also quite wide. For example, inclusion and diversity, environmental protection, digital readiness, common values, etc. So these apply to all sectors, to the higher education sector, school education, vocational education, training, and adult education. Then, for each sector, there are the so-called specific priorities, field-specific priorities. For example, in the field of higher education, there is the promotion of innovative practice, the development of STEM, rewarding excellence, etc. You can see that, again, they are quite wide in terms of priorities, and many of the ideas that were presented in these 2 days could fit with them. The budget is up to 400,000 euro for a 2 to 3 years project, and this covers a number of activities that can be implemented. Who can participate? So the participants are the ones I was mentioning earlier, and at least 3 organizations from 3 different countries. There is a deadline every year to submit a project. Probably the next call will be published by the end of the year, and the deadline should be in March 2022. The request, the application, should be submitted to the national agency. Now, again, quickly, example of approved projects. This is Quill. The project idea came during one of these conferences discussing with a lecturer from Polytechnics of Braganza in Portugal. The idea is to provide university lecturers in languages with the capacity to use and implement digital technologies in language teaching. So the purpose of the project is to provide language teachers with the skills to develop their own teaching material, digital-based teaching material, with the capacity of integrating digital materials into a traditional classroom context, and with the skills to be able to select existing digital material that could be relevant for them. The second example is CLIL. The idea of this project came with a school teacher of English in a Polish school. His idea was to promote CLIL, content and language integrated learning, for STEM teaching. So with this teacher, we decided to develop videos where native English teachers of scientific subjects would teach specific topics in their own language, so that the science teachers in the partner countries could learn the exact terms that native speakers use for teaching specific subjects, such as the Pythagorean theory. So we have a teacher who teaches the Pythagorean theory. It's like very small videos, and then there is all the material that is given and is shared, so that teachers can learn how to teach very specific subjects. And the subjects were selected by the teachers involved at transnational level on the basis of the subjects that they thought more relevant and that they shared, because the national school curricula are different, so some specific topics were chosen. Another example is NEMI. This is actually the previous one, and the next ones are all ongoing projects. This is a project that ended, it's closed, but we are still speaking about this because it's still being promoted by the European Commission, because this was a project that had the aim to promote the implementation of the European language label. The European language label is a label awarded by the European Commission to the best projects in the field of language learning. So in the framework of this project, we were promoting the implementation of the European language label, and it was developed working together with the national agencies of the Erasmus program throughout Europe. BIMO. This project has just started. We will have the kickoff meeting for this project next week. The idea came again from this conference. The idea came from lectures from the University of Madrid, an English lecture from the University of Madrid. And the objective of the project is to promote bilingualism in a monolingual context. So the background of this project is that we have to deal with families that are now living with children that are becoming bilingual, but they are monolingual. So how to involve families in the learning of the second language of their children, their second and third language of their children. This is a totally new project that was, as I was saying, just approved, just started. And this is the project I was mentioning earlier. This afternoon there will be a very detailed presentation about this project. The topic is providing digital competences to language teachers. I will not say more, so that you can attend the workshop this afternoon with the Norwegian coordinator. And the last ongoing project is Open One. The purpose of this project is to provide, again, higher education language lecturers with the skills to help their students in mobilities abroad. So to help teachers, language teachers, to provide their students with language teaching sources to support international mobility, so that If I have a student who is going to Romania, I know where to tell them to find sources, quality sources, to learn a little bit of Romanian. And as I promised, just a couple of slides on Horizon Europe. This is another very, very big umbrella program. The focus here is on research and innovation. There are 3 pillars, and the one that may be more relevant for you is the second pillar. There are specific topics such as health, culture, creativity, and inclusive society. This may be the most relevant for what you do. These are bigger projects. The budget is much bigger. They're more complicated than the Erasmus program, but as I was saying, the budget is much bigger, 90 billion euro. So what do we do? What we do at Pixel is, if you have a good idea that could be transformed into a European project proposal, talk to us and we can discuss your idea. And as we did in many of the projects I briefly presented earlier, it can be transformed into a European project proposal. What we do is we support the project writing process from a technical perspective, because we have projects now. I presented the projects in the field of language learning, but we have projects in all fields. We have projects in medicine, we have projects in economics, we have projects in chemistry. That's it. And so our role is to help those who have good ideas into the project writing process. Then the contents will be provided by you, by the experts, and we will guide you on how to write the project proposal. We do this for free, so we are not a consultancy organization. If we believe in the idea, if we think the idea is good and it has chances of being approved, we will help you. We will join the project as a partner in the project. And if the project is approved, we will have our role as support the project management and support the policy assurance, dissemination, etc., all the transversal activities that are needed in the framework of this project. This is it. Thank you for your attention.